I did go into therapy just on the one occasion and just cried for 3 hours. When I was 17, what happened to me, I kept to myself. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my parents. I was ashamed. I thought it was my fault.
This episode contains themes that some listeners might find upsetting. Please refer to the show notes for more information and take care when and how you listen. Hello and welcome to Second Act, the podcast and community for women in midlife who refuse to fade into the background. I'm your host, Ateh Jewel, and I'll be speaking to celebrity guests about the moment they knew they were in their second act and how they're changing the game in the next one. Second Act is brought to you by Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair, the iconic skincare collection designed to support the skin's natural nightly renewal process, harnessing over 40 years of pioneering night science research. Our guest for today's episode is the incredible Penny Lancaster. Penny is a model, TV personality, photographer, and the queen of the second act shift, having trained to become a special constable for the City of London Police in 2021. She's married to the rock star Sir Rod Stewart and has written an incredible memoir, Someone Like Me, about her life. I cannot wait to talk to her. Penny Lancaster, welcome to Second Act. Penny, welcome! I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this chat. I've been very, very overexcited and bouncy all today. I would love to ask you, can you please summarise your first act in 3 words?
First act, 3 words. I would say insecure.
Ooh.
Kindness. My other one, carefree.
Oh, thank you. Can I just say thank you for saying insecure, because I violently swing between high and low self-esteem. I think so many people do, but people don't talk about it. Talk to me about what insecurity looked like for you.
Well, I'm pretty much of an open book.
Yes.
I think if you can't be honest and transparent, then I think you're doing yourself an injustice, because you know, all those kind of micro-managing little telltale fibs here and there about yourself, about other people, you're always going to have to, it's that 1 step forward, 2 step back thing. So I got to the stage now in my second act where I'm okay with talking about my weaknesses, my imperfections, my insecurities. Yeah. I still have them now, but they were a big part of my first act because I didn't understand myself at school. I'm dyslexic, but nobody knew what that was. So it was this question.
I think I am too, by the way.
There you go.
And there's a lot of shame.
Yes.
And hiding and masking.
Not so much nowadays, I don't think.
But back then.
Back then, it was like, what's wrong with her?
Yeah.
She must be dumb. She must be stupid. Let's put her at the back of the class. Not bring her forward and help her, but just almost put her aside. We'll just focus on the children that we can help, kind of thing. So I was sort of like, felt like I was sort of pushed aside, not given the help I needed. So I think that's a lot of where the insecurity came from. Also, I felt like I stood out. I was taller than not just all the girls, but all the boys too. So I looked different. So I didn't just learn differently, I looked different too. So from all sorts of aspects, I was insecure, inside and outwardly as well.
It's crazy. It's like the shiniest, most glamorous, most fabulous person. And at school, you're made to feel like, I tell my daughters, this is not your time. When you're in Paris as a model, that will be your time. And I wish I could have said that to you.
I know.
This is not your time. When
know.
you're on the streets of Paris or Rome being fabulous, that will be your time. But no one tells you that at school, do they?
We all have our moment to shine, don't we? There's the people that we look up to in class. I wish I was like them. And then maybe they kind of slipped away, into adulthood and faded into sort of ordinary. But which is fine. Being ordinary is just fine, as long as you can accept where you are and you're happy in your space and you're supported and loved. You don't always have to be at the top of the hill and that successful person everyone looks up to. You just have to be happy in your space where you are. And I was not happy as a young kid in school.
It wasn't a happy, safe place for you. And I get,
Yeah.
I think dyslexic at school, you're either a class clown or you get very quiet. Which one?
Quiet. Yeah, I was quiet. I always like, Penny must try harder. Penny must not get distracted. Penny needs to pay attention, all those kind of things. And I was trying. And I wanted to go to school and I wanted to learn and I wanted to be liked and I wanted to be, cheered on. But I felt like I was a disappointment to everybody, to the teachers, to my friends, I just felt like I didn't stand out, and for the right reasons.
I'm so sorry you felt that, and thank you for being so open, because there are millions of people who are going to be relating to this, and we just don't have the words.
Yeah.
I'm a proud Gen X like you, and we just didn't have the words to articulate that.
I did find two amazing friends when I was at school. One that, remember, from a really young age when I was 5, and she was another person that kind of made her own path. She didn't sort of fit in, but she stood proudly and strong and was like, take it or leave it. Whereas I didn't have that strength, so I kind of really looked towards her and admired her for that. And she was kind of on my side, And then there was her name was Lizzie, and then there was Katie, who I met when I was about 12, and she was the one person that came up to me and said, "Oh, I love your hair, and I like how you kind of, you separate yourself from others." And she was actually complimenting me where everyone else was sort of putting me down. So we bonded and we made this amazing relationship. I ended up going on to college afterwards, and she came to join me at the same college, and both those girls, Lizzie and Katie, were my bridesmaids at my wedding. So we're still friends to this day. So it wasn't all that bad. And they do say, if you could just count your good friends on one hand, that's all you need.
God bless Katie and Lizzie.
Yeah.
May everyone have Katie and Lizzie in their life, because it's how you get through.
Yeah, I know. And they're there to this day. We hung out at Glastonbury and we'd kind of just have little coffees together, and they're like my grounding, they're my roots, they're my like, am I doing this right? Have I got this? And they're just like forging through with me. Anytime I feel like I doubt myself, they're like, I'm proud of you, I love you, and my girls.
Family.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to me about being carefree in your kindness, because in your first act you were saying carefree. How did that present itself?
I suppose maybe it was partly because of like bullying or not being understood with the dyslexia. The other part of me was like, I'd have to let go of this and be a little bit more carefree in other areas of my life. So probably more so when I left school and just looking at my future. I put the schooling behind me and exams behind me so I could be carefree. I've got my whole future ahead of me. I've got no ties. I don't have the boyfriend. I don't have the mortgage and the kids and the thing, those responsibilities as an adult, and realising that I can just go and be who I want to be. I can create my own destiny for myself. So that was a refreshing step forward when I went to the London College of Fashion, and I was up in the West End, and the world was my oyster. So that sort of freedom from the house, I'm driving now, so I don't need to rely on mum and dad to take me places, and I can jump on the tube and I can get on a plane, and that sense of kind of carefree.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
If you were to give yourself a report card for your first act, what would it say?
No, I did make a few little notes on this one because there were sort of things that stood out that so my report card would be, focus on your strengths, because as a kid I was always looking at my weaknesses and what I was not good at, and I never really narrowed it down as to, I must have some good aspects, some strengths. So I think that would be one of the things, is to focus on your strengths, and also love fiercely, because I think there's always that heartbreak that you get when you're younger, and then you sort of think, I could never love again. But in fact, that's always been my motto, to give all. So if you can't love fiercely, then what's the point in loving at all?
Same. I can feel you're a romantic. You're a romantic.
Absolutely.
It's like all or nothing. All or nothing. You were 27 when you met your now husband, Rod. What was it like to have so much attention in you from such a young age? And a lot of people commented on your age gap. Did that ever concern you?
Not at all. Have you seen my husband? He's not like anyone of his age at all. I mean, when we first met, I think I needed someone in my life that had some experience in his life that could help kind of guide me, because I was a little bit lost as to what direction to go in, and as I say, where my strengths were. And he, you know, of course you've got your parents telling you how wonderful you are, but you just think, oh, that's because you're my mum and dad. But then when I heard it from Rod, who had seen a thing or two, and when I kept saying, oh, I can't do this, or I'm not good at that. Yes, you can. You're great at it. And I'm like, I am. So the age thing was almost an advantage, really, to have someone that little bit older. So
true. Like, age, you know, age is just a number. You can have people who are very fuddy-duddy in their 20s.
Yes, I know.
My mum's, she's 79 and she's like, you're so boring, and she's kicking up and she's having the best time. And it is an attitude, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he's 80 now, and he's getting back on after doing like 2 months of touring throughout the summer. He only broke for 1 week to have a family holiday time, and then he's back off on Thursday, and he's like going back into Vegas, down to South America. And when Aidan has got his half-term holiday, we're going to go and join him. But he's just non-stop. I mean, I can't keep up with him. So it's like, slow down.
And energy. And it is that thing. I do think love can really set you free and give you such confidence. When you're with a really cheerleading partner, it can do an amazing thing for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we are a great team. You know, we're there for each other, and we check in on each other. You know, it's not just like, hi darling, love you. You know, it's like, how are you doing? You know, what did you love about today, or where did you struggle, or is there anything I can do? Or just noticing, you know, you okay today? You seem a little, you know, just always checking in on each other, taking that time to that little bit of.
I was talking to one of my closest friends, and she said, you know, I've got this new podcast, and I'm doing really well, and I'm working really hard, I'm getting divorced. And she said, Ateh, honestly, growing up, I thought my job as a woman was to look attractive and make dinner. That was kind of the underlining narrative she was fed, and so many of us were fed. And it's so lovely that your husband is like, no, you got this, and you go for it. It's lovely.
Yeah, he does like it that I. Would I say dress the part? I mean, he doesn't particularly love me in jeans.
Men are visual.
Yeah, they're visual. So I mean, I do have good legs. I can say that. You know, I'm not ashamed to be able to compliment myself, because I've got so many other areas of me that I don't like. But so yeah, and he loves my legs, so I do appreciate that, and so I will wear a short skirt. You know, I remember being teased at school, you know, and things, and outside school of like, you know, is that skirt short enough? I'm like, no, actually, it's my legs. They're too long. It's not my skirt. And then like roll my skirt up at my waistline to make it even shorter. So it was like I was always pushing against those kind of comments. But yeah, so I mean, obviously the visual, but underneath it all, he's always about trying to build my confidence. And showcased me, you know, and sort of pushed me in directions that I didn't realise I was capable of doing. Really? Yeah, he likes the independence of a woman, you know, so not the woman's just going to sit at home and wait for you to come home kind of thing, but like I've got my own life, I've got my own independence, and he loves to recognise that in me, and it's like. Yeah, being proud, it's nice.
That's so refreshing. And as a mother of girls, and knowing what I know now, it's really good. That's the way forward. So what does the term second act mean to you?
Well, in a strange way, I see my life as 3 acts. The first act being childhood and the carefreeness, and then the responsibility of becoming a mother and giving birth, which was what I've always dreamt about from a young age. And suddenly having the responsibility of another human being, not just myself to take care of. And I see that as my second act. And I feel like after going through menopause and coming out the other side, like a butterfly coming out of the chrysalis, I see that as my third act. Yeah.
I love that. So motherhood. So I was going to ask you what the moment you knew you were in your second act. So motherhood.
I would say so, for sure. Yeah, motherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a game changer.
It is. So, okay, tools down.
And it's like, it was like shock and awe. Like shock and awe that I remember when my girls were little, I walked out the house. They were 2 days old, and I walked out to get milk. And I was like, I've got children upstairs.
I know.
I had to run back in. And I was like, I can't even go get some milk.
When Rod says, darling, let's go off to Paris for the weekend, or let's go out for dinner, I'm like, I'd love to, honey, that sounds wonderful, but we have children. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Your life shift.
Yeah, there's the soccer practice, there's the, like the school run, and,
Sports kit.
dinner, uniform ready, all that kind of thing. And just not just those kind of mundane stuff, but just being there, having that omnipresence, just being there for them under the same roof in case they need you, not just at the end of the phone and there's a time difference somewhere, and but just being around. Because Rod always laughs. He said, "What's that thing where there's that piece on on social somewhere, and there's this woman sort of saying to her son, 'Yes, darling, yes. No, don't move. I'll get it for you. What did you want? Yes, of course I'll do that for you.' And then they say to their daughter, 'Your bum looks fat in that.'" Like, it's a different way that mothers deal with their daughters as they do with their sons. And I put that down to women understanding that life is much harder for women and we have to fight for our place. So you want to be tough with the daughters, whereas the sons, you've got an easier path. So I don't need to kind of work on that area. So you do. I overly mother my boys, probably. I spoil them, yeah.
It's a thing. I've seen it with my friends, with their boys.
But also there's that thing where you sort of go, or remember when I did this or did that, but it was okay though because it was before children, So like, forgive me, like for dancing on the table and doing whatever, but it was okay because it was before children. And then suddenly go, oh no, I've got children now, I can't do that. Like, there's this sort of separation of like the responsible, I need to show lead by example and that kind of thing. So there is there's a shift in how you behave and how you respond to things, I think, before and after having children.
Definitely. So you have a new memoir out, Someone Like Me. Very exciting. Yeah. It's out now. I'd love to ask you, what was it like to reflect back on your first act?
Gosh, going back was hard. There were certain elements of my childhood where I had to deal with male predators and sexual assault. So at the time, I think one particular method I've been told about is being able to say sorry to your younger self and to go back to that 5-year-old or that 12-year-old or that 17-year-old and just hold their hand and just say, it's okay. You're going to be fine.
First of all, I'm so sorry you've been through that. Thank you for talking about it. I was just saying, I don't know any of my friends who haven't had some level, especially our generation, of sexual assault or some kind of predatory or harassment. And you've been very, very open. And how has that been for you?
Well, without sounding like obvious, it has been like a therapy for me. I did go into therapy just on the one occasion and just cried for 3 hours. And I thought, I don't have the energy for this right now. I'm in a place in my life where I can't dedicate all what's needed to me right now. I needed to be there for my husband, my children, and I knew that caring for myself at that moment it just wasn't possible. But I feel like I'm ready now to tackle that. Having opened up in my book about the experiences, I realised how healthy and good that's been for me to talk about it. It's helped myself, and I hope that I've helped someone else like me. Hence the Someone Like Me title, because I think on different levels there'll be someone that can relate to the experiences I've been through, and I think by talking about it and women helping women. And even men and boys being able to hear what it feels like, it might kind of open up a whole different view on those subjects.
We need the conversations. We need the help.
Conversations.
How did you deal with it? Were you taught to speak about it, to deal with it? Did you shut it away? Was it something you dealt with at the time, or?
When the first two incidents happened when I was younger, my parents were there with me and the police were involved in the second incident. So I felt like they were tackled, but it was more so not in a mental health way.
Yeah.
Because then it wasn't quite understood. So it was like, well, this was the incident and we believe we have a suspect and we're your parents, so we're going to protect you and make sure it doesn't happen again. But not understanding the effect on a young person and how that can ultimately affect them as an adult. There wasn't that education at the time. And then when I was 17, what happened to me, I kept to myself. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my parents. I was ashamed. I thought it was my fault. So it was a long time afterwards, while I was on Loose Women, that story evolved and came out around that whole Me Too movement thing. And I think it's incredible how more women now are braver to come forward with their stories and not just feel like, oh, well, that was just what it was like then and how we had to just put up with it. But I think it's like, just because it's an historic case doesn't mean to say you still can't talk about it.
And it's healing to talk about it.
It's very healing, very healing.
And to put the shame where it belongs, which is on them, not on you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now that you're in your second act, how has that changed the way you see your younger self going through that? Like you talk about holding hand and parenting.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel more compassion or protective, or how do you feel?
I feel like talking to young women now, I feel like I can empower them and passing on my experience and my advice to my young self. Being a mother, it's not going to safeguard young people from being in similar situations, but I think it can give them extra tools and to know that what's not acceptable. As a police officer, there's a great incentive to do a lot on the streets for the safety of women, and there's an operation called Operation Reframe where we have a welfare tent out for anybody to come to express their feelings, and they ask for Angela in pubs, that if anyone is on, like, say, for instance, a blind date and they're feeling anxious or threatened or worried, rather than actually asking for help and feeling that that's not a possibility, just to simply ask of our staff member, can I ask for Angela? And it's code for them to call the police. So there are measures out there now, and like with the spiking and things like that, there's a lot more support and understanding and conversation around that area will hopefully make them feel safer.
You're making a big difference, and it's making complete sense why you wanted to be a police officer. It's that you're I think in your second act as a grown-up, you always become the person you wish you had, who you were. Mm-hmm. And I think that's who you are now, that protector. Yeah. Beautiful. One of the areas that you speak about in the book is a common theme for women in midlife and how we met, menopause, menopause mandate. Can you tell us about your experience with it and how it's affected your mental health, the menopause?
Gosh. Yeah, when you say what was the turning point of his second act, if it wasn't for motherhood, it would definitely be the menopause. But instead of looking at it as that dreadful thing, talking to younger people going, oh my God, you're going to go through like brain fog and anxiety and hot sweats and messed up periods and all that, to like inject fear into a younger person. I kind of look at it, I kind of tend to do this in any aspect of my life. The glass half full thing is almost like a chrysalis. Women are born and wrapped up with the protectiveness of our hormones. The progesterone, estrogen and testosterone are our shield that enable us to move through life, to protect and look after others around us, to be the mother, the carer, the wife, the one that looks after the home, and, that sort of just is that problem solver and that safe place to go to. And suddenly we get to an age where children are growing up, the household is set, the relationship is secure, and then suddenly, boom, 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 those barriers, that shield of protectiveness that those hormones are, the progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone, start fading away. But what happens, just like that caterpillar that turns into the butterfly, we evolve and we come out and we show our true colours. We spread our wings and we're colours of all different natures. You know, we're spotty and we're stripes and we're oranges and pinks, and suddenly we come alive and we become the woman that we always were supposed to be. So I think of it as a kind of rebirth almost.
I love that, and so powerful and positive, because growing up, like as a child of the 80s, menopause was like a thief that was going to come and get you at some point.
Yeah.
You have to like look over your shoulder.
Yeah, and life was over. Yeah.
It's coming! It's coming! It's like, oh yeah, dodge it! It's like a bag snatcher.
Yeah, that's what I felt like when it first happened, when I didn't have any understanding of menopause. Yeah. I literally just crashed and burned. And when the doctor decided it was antidepressants was the answer, I was like, okay, just someone take this away. Someone stop me feeling this pain and dread. So I went on the antidepressants, and when they didn't work, I thought, oh, I really am. This is asylum. I'm like, they're going to put me away, because they didn't help. And then finally, I was advised by our ladies on Loose Women that this is menopause, darling. This, you're
not going mad.
You're not going mad. You're just going menopause.
No.
So there are answers. Of course, everyone is an individual, and it's not always the same map for everyone. But it's just like childbirth and motherhood and all of that. We all find our own way. But for me, HRT was my saviour, and it put me back on track to sort of feel strong again, and to kind of like, it's not the end. This is just a new beginning, and I can forge forward, and I can still give back. I can still be relevant and productive and all of those things.
It's amazing. Well, thank you for speaking about it, because it was a shame that we all grew up with and we didn't talk about it. You didn't want to admit that you were menopausal.
I was like, me? I'm not old enough.
How dare you?
Really, really old people. No, it's like, no, it's not. It can start, the perimenopause can start as early as your mid-40s, or even younger for some people. And those that have gone through breast cancer and had to have surgeries, I mean, they can go straight into it overnight. So once again, conversation, more women talking about their experiences, and how different in different ethnic backgrounds the experience of menopause can be as well.
We don't talk about it enough, so thank you so much.
Yeah.
What are you doing differently in your second act compared to your first act?
I am taking more care of me, because how I'd explained about the kind of protective barrier of our hormones, I believe is designed to enable us to kind of not look in towards ourselves, but look out to others and help everyone else. But now my barriers are coming down. I'm like, I can see myself now. I can look in the mirror and I can recognize who I am and what my needs are. So that's very different to how I was.
Esther Lauder is no stranger to the concerns of midlife and has supported women through the changes that our second act brings for nearly 80 years. As many women of my age know, your sleep patterns can dramatically be impacted by changes in your hormone levels, making a good night's sleep a thing of the past. Hello is partnering with Esther Lauder's Advanced Night Repair Regime for the Night Shift, a campaign designed to help you achieve a better night's sleep through simple rituals and expert advice. A cult beauty buy, and one of my favourites, the serum has been a fixture on beauty editors' must-have lists for decades. And now, the Advanced Night Repair collection is a targeted set of products addressing specific skin concerns, including line reduction, skin smoothing, firmness, evening skin tone, and strength, hydration, and radiance. Esther Lauder's Advanced Night Repair collection, which helps repair the look of sleep-deprived skin, is a miracle bottled. You're 54 now. What has this decade meant to you?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was police training at 50. I mean, who would have thought it? Like, when we're supposed to be hanging up our hats, I was putting on a new hat.
I love it.
A City of London police hat, like an old-fashioned bowler with red and white checks.
too fabulous.
Yeah.
I did fist pumps and cheered for you when I saw that, because it is just so inspiring that you just a completely new career, a new chapter, a new challenge, and how badass that was. It's amazing.
Yeah, it goes with my nature of wanting to care and look after and protect others. But I initially thought going into policing was another form of charitable work because it is a volunteer role, and I was giving back because it's the guilt, the mum guilt that sort of comes in when you have children and now you're doing everything you should be and all that kind of thing. I still kind of carry guilt in lots of other areas, like because I live an incredible life, who put me in this position? Well, why do I deserve to be here? So charity work and giving back and volunteering, but actually what I've got back in return from doing those jobs is tenfold. And that's where they're kind of caring for me, because it's like, this is mummy's time, and every Thursday mummy does this, and so you just all have to take care of yourselves.
It's good for kids to see you. How can they love and protect and put themselves first if you don't do it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually a really beautiful gift to your children to see you centering yourself.
Yes.
Because you're teaching them that lesson.
Yeah. And it's like that saying of, if you've got to put on your oxygen mask before you put on someone else's oxygen mask. So if I can't breathe, if I can't take care of myself, and whether it is a day in a spa, or whether it's just a coffee with a friend, or whether it's just taking time to do something for you, regenerates your soul and your cells to therefore be better for others. So it kind of works in a full circle.
Help me, help you.
Yeah.
And he's off.
Yeah.
I'm off. How has your approach to motherhood changed in your second act? Because it does change as you get older, doesn't it?
It does. Once they become a little bit more mature, I suppose, and they have an understanding about, not just mummy and daddy, you're actually a woman and a man who've gone through teenage years yourself and navigated life and made the decisions of what to do when you left school. I think they look at you and have a better respect for you. So therefore, you can give them different life lessons. You can tell them some more harder truths. Sometimes I go over the top with those truths just to scare the hell out of them.
I'm one of them. I'm one of them mums. Like, I'm one of those mums. I'm like,
it's like, yeah, all right, mum. You're over exaggerating again. It's like, I just want to get the point across. So yeah, I can kind of force the envelope a little bit more. And now they're older. Yeah,
I love that. What is it like to have a blended family? So many people. I mean,
I am so blessed. I'm so blessed. It's because you set out, don't you, thinking, okay, I'm going to meet a man, get married, have children, and that's going to be your cocoon yourself like that. You don't believe that by adding other pods, other families that can kind of join together. It was extremely challenging and something I hadn't kind of prepared myself for, but actually, once again, putting in the hard work and putting in the love and the kindness and all of that, and we talk about reaping the benefits. It's I'm so fortunate. And
did it get easier as you were older, or was it more challenging? Because at 27, that must have been difficult compared to 54-year-old Penny.
Well, at 27, I didn't know what it was like to have children, to be a mother. So after having become a mother and now seeing them being mothers and fathers of their own, it's just become more and more enriched as time has gone by.
I have to say, my dad was, how do I say this politely? A bit of a shagger.
Well, Rod's got like four wives, 5 mothers. Yeah.
Well, my dad was like he was a secret polygamist, but that's another story. He had 6 different families. And I remember being 16, having cocktails with him, saying, you know what? Look at Mick Jagger and Rod Stewart. It's not about how many families, it's how you treat them. And I remember being 16, quoting, saying, that's how you do it. Because it's like there's 2, it's like just more love. And if you're good to everybody, everyone's going to be good to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true.
Just like a blended family can be a really beautiful thing if there's kindness and love.
Exactly.
I love that. So you've been married to your husband for 18 years now. What is the secret to a happy long-term partnership, and how do you keep romance alive? A lot of people in their second act having a long marriages, but how do you keep it spicy and happy and alive?
Well, for one, it's honesty. You got to cut the bullshit kind of thing, and try not to have a row before you go to sleep, but always clear the air. Don't bury stuff and just think, I know, yes, there are moments where you've got to go, look, I've got to pick my fights here. And I think that's important. It's just let some things go. Don't nitpick on every tiny little thing. It's like you have to, okay, take a deep breath, bite your lip, whatever, but walk away, let that be. Like that, just stay where it is, and it's okay, because there's only so much you control and only so much you can take care of. So it's, obviously going into adulthood, you want to try and micromanage everything around you, but sometimes you've got to learn to just go with the flow. And but then when the things that you do tackle, you've got to be completely honest and open about them, and it works both ways. And then you have to be that team, that tag, that, Rod will let me take the lead in some areas, and then he'll back up, and then I'll let him take the lead, and so we work very well. I mean, of course there's clashes, but we're very open about talking about them, and he will come to me like, I wasn't really happy about how you dealt with that or what you said, and I'm like, oh, really? Oh, okay. So rather than getting defensive, just kind of accept and move on and apologise. And Rod's very good at apologising. Actually, and he will apologise to me in front of the boys as an example. And he will go, boys, the biggest thing you can do, the man that can apologise is the truest man of all. So
that is so powerful, especially for old school.
I mean, exactly. It takes him a little while, but I give him the space, and then I kind of wait, and then go, here he comes. Here comes that apology, whatever. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be immediate, but it's giving people space, and not always attacking them for everything they do wrong. It's like forgiveness.
I completely see that, because I can be very rat-a-tat-tat. And that doesn't, it's not, you have to have a goal, and the goal is that you want to be happy.
I think I'm patient. I think that's what Rod's kids would often say to me. I don't know how you can be so patient. And I think that's the gift, is because if you're patient and you give things time, they will take care of themselves with a little gentle encouragement here and there, rather than going in like a bull in a china shop.
So true. It's the confidence to be patient. I also love Kevin Bacon has a quote. He said, "Keep the fights clean and the sex dirty."
Ooh, that's nice. I like that. That's great.
Fights clean and the sex dirty. And I was like, good on you. I think that's good advice as well. So you're a shining example of the idea that it's never too late to try something new. You're a special constable, as we've spoken about, of the City of London Police, and have been since 2021. What prompted that? What have you learnt during your time in the police force?
Well, what prompted it was it just sort of fell in my lap, really. It was an opportunity that came through my agent, Nick Crawford, saying there's a TV show called Famous and Fighting Crime. I was like, oh, what's that? Anyway, it was household names, 5 of us given the opportunity to work with Cambridgeshire Police. And I was like, oh. And I love watching police shows and dramas and things like that. And I was like, this could be really interesting. And I'm literally going to be out on the streets working side by side with regular police officers and specials. So I had no idea what specials were. And this incredible special that I work with, a 9-to-5 job in an office. And then in his spare time, he volunteers basically 200 hours a year. And they have exact same powers as regulars. So, you're at the same risk, but of course you're only doing it a shift once a week as opposed to full time. And I grew this, I've always respected police, but grew this huge amount of respect for them during this period of time. And I loved every second of it. And when they say the reason they do their job is because they feel they make a difference, I'm like, this is what I've been looking for. So, feet on the ground, getting tucked in. So I was like, I wonder if I could do the training, fit it in between everything else and all the travel and other commitments. And I was like, I think I could. And I just was always looking for new challenges. Maybe because I didn't do so well at school, that I was always looking to forge in a different direction and find worth somewhere else. So I did the training and signed to be a special constable with the city. And I think my experience as a mother gave me some extra tools to deal with certain circumstances on the street. And I've always felt like I had a lot of empathy and understood what it was like for the other person. Even bullies. My mum would encourage me to imagine what it must be like for the bullies, why they behave the way they do. So I've often looked at things from different perspectives. So I think my ability to have that empathy is another skill set that's really helped as a police officer. And I'm still learning. Every duty I go out, I learn something new, just about humanity, about skills, about just people in general.
Absolutely fascinating. What has your experiences been like as a woman on the police force? And is being on the police force what you thought it would be like?
So I did have the impression that it was a male-dominated career path to go into. But actually, I felt like the women, the female officers, the male officers just all blend into one. And we are officers, hence why they used to call them policemen and police women. Or but now it's just police officers. But at the same time, going through menopause, I was like, and one of the older ones in there, I thought, how are they going to adapt to some of those changes? How do they look after women of an older age? But in fact, I remember we were going out on one particular operation and they like everybody to look smart and be smart. So we all wear the same kit. So we have like different outerwear, but whatever outerwear one person wears, everyone has to wear. But it was hard to judge. It was going to be a long shift and the weather was changeable. And I was really concerned that if I wear the big, heavy outer gear, that I'm with my hot sweats, I'm just going to be dying there standing on a street corner, just like in a whole hot mess. So I spoke to one of the male officers that was in charge and I said, I don't want to be awkward or seem like I'm being given privileges that others aren't, but I'm going through my menopause. I don't even know that you're aware what that means. But he said, oh, yes, we have a whole menopause talk. And, of course, in the toilets, there's these messages about free sanitary wear and all that, And so it opened my eyes up to what already had been put in place to care for younger women with their periods, and then women go through the menopause, and they allow me to wear the lighter weight jacket. And I was like, so yeah, I'm totally surprised. And there's a lot of very high-ranking women that I was, like shocked, but also just like, yes, and why not? So that's just wonderful to kind of look up to and admire. And then, of course, the work that the police are doing for women in general, the safety for women on the streets. So I feel like I'm in a very comfortable, safe space there.
What's the scariest thing you've seen on the streets?
I guess when people are fueled with alcohol.
They're not in control of themselves.
And other substances, then it's very hard to predict how people are going to behave. In our training, we're taught when you're using the spray, pepper spray, the people normally would react with very, very sore eyes, and it would they'd end up falling to their knees, not be able to see. But when someone is under the influence, it might not affect them like that at all, and you'll have to apply extra force, and it will be more challenging. So it's those kind of sort of threats and ideas that no matter how much training you have, it's something about every officer reacting instinctively and making their own decisions in that moment in time that kind of sets officers apart, I suppose, and really brings to the force lots of different skill sets. That's why it's so important to have a variety of people in the police force to not only reflect the community around them, but to add those layers to the response that the team can bring.
I love that. And you were talking about your empathy probably helps de-escalate a lot of sticky situations as well.
Yes.
Different social skills are going on. Fascinating. But what has been your biggest learning since starting your second act?
Probably to forgive myself, that whole guilt thing I was talking about earlier, of just kind of letting go and just thinking, I'm enough, it's okay. I feel like I'm always trying to strive to be the best of me, and so now telling myself, that I'm enough. I think that's kind of the big thing. Like, you're all right.
It's huge, and it's like my biggest thing. It's like, forgiveness and that you are more than enough.
Yes,
that's a hard one.
Yeah,
well, I think a lot of people relate to that. I do definitely. If you could share some advice about the second act to your younger self, go back in a time machine, and to our listeners, what would it be? What's the advice you'd give yourself?
Well, one of them was like focusing on what you can control.
Huge.
Because otherwise you're just giving yourself a whole lot of stress over something that you can't do anything about. So it's just it's like the same thing as like pick your fights. Just focus on what you can control.
And as a control freak, that's very hard.
Yes.
Because you want to control everything, in my opinion. But I think that's really good. Like, just your response to something, that's how you find peace.
And also, do the work to make it possible. So if you have a dream or an idea of what you want, you can get there, but you have to do the work. It's not just just having the idea and telling people about it isn't enough, just having that wish list. Ambitions and wishes and dreams, they're great, but you have to do the work. You have to go take it in steps. Like, what are the skill sets that are required for those things? Do I have them? Tick, tick, tick. Okay. How do I strengthen those things? Do I need to take a course in this? Do I need to educate myself more in that? Do I need to research? Do I need to make contacts? Do I need to find other people that have the same wishes as me? Because then maybe if we come together and collaborate, they'll have a few of those strengths that I'm lacking, and together we can, so it's sort of building blocks.
Believe in yourself. Control what you can control.
Yes.
That's really great advice. So talk to me about what self-care and looking after yourself today means.
Well, I would tend to put myself second or third. So it would be like, where would you like to go for dinner? Oh, don't worry about me. Well, I'll be happy if you're happy, kind of thing. So I've kind of stopped doing that, I suppose. And I'd be like, this is where we're going tonight. So just simple decision making and taking a little bit more control. Or I might have a list of emails that I've got to get through, and I could just be sitting at my desk for ages, and my dogs are sitting there and go, you know what, closing that up. I'm going to leave my phone on the desk because that can all wait, because I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to take 20 minutes, half an hour, and I'm going to take a walk into nature, because I feel my best when I'm in nature, whether it's in the ocean or in a green park. And I'm just going to take that stroll. And it doesn't matter if the kids are trying to get hold of me or mum is not busy. I'm busy doing nothing. And that sometimes is the best time for me.
Yeah. Hashtag walk in the park.
I love that. Yeah.
Well, and nature heals you. It really does. It's like literally.
I can breathe.
Yeah. And so you go. So I really love that. I'm not at where you are, Penny, where I'm leaving the phone, because I still am addicted. But I'm going to try that.
It is healthy. The only thing is that when I'm walking around, I want to take a photo or something. So I do have a couple of little actual cameras, small little pocket, like quick,
Genius.
Yeah.
So you have that moment of that you can capture beauty, but you're not like then. Zip, 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 zip.
I know, a million photos. But then the beauty of when you've got your phone, I can take a picture, because it's normally like, oh, that, this needs doing, that needs doing. And then I can forward an email to someone and attach the photograph, and you get all those jobs done at once. But sometimes you just need to go, just stop. Let it slow down. This is just me time, me in nature, just no digital stuff.
running
Let go.
immediately to buy a camera.
A camera.
We're all going to be doing that now, and we need to put it on the second act.
But just try and put
pictures up.
putting your phone in another room when you sit down for dinner, because you just think, oh, well, it's not on the table, but if you hear it go like a silent buzz, he's like, oh, so it's just leave it in another room, just let go, and it's so free. It's so like,
We're all cyborgs. Become human again.
Yeah.
It's time for your second act, where we read emails and voice notes sent in by you, my wonderful listeners. This one is from Annie. Hi, Ateh. I'm 6 months away from marrying my second husband. He has children with his first partner, and I have 3 of my own. He's the love of my life, and I want to be excited for our next chapter, but I'm worried about his kids hating me as the evil stepmother type, and that my kids won't like living with him. I know any family tension on our wedding day will really ruin it for me. Any advice? Penny, what do you think?
oh, so any tension on the wedding day? So it doesn't sound like they have got to know each other very well before the wedding comes along. And obviously from the children's perspective, they'll be looking, thinking, why are you here? What's your agenda? Do you really love my dad? What are your intentions? There's always going to be those doubts. But if you can just come with love and kindness and openness and not try to come in and control, because obviously you've got somewhat of control of your own children, but you can't pattern that onto someone else's children. So you just have to learn to navigate it very slowly and allow them to feel that they're in control. So it's a bit of a tug of war, back and forth thing, but you don't want to be a complete pushover. You want to set your boundaries. I know this is like how I expect to be spoken to, but I'm here for you.
I love that.
I'm not here for me.
Also, that thing of just like, you've just got another team member who loves you. I'm not trying to be your mum. I'm not trying to be, I'm just another person who's on your team. I think that's what I would have liked to hear.
Yeah, and also the stepkids, you'll find, will end up eventually coming to you as a sounding board, because they don't want to just like mum and dad. What do you think? And can you talk to dad? Because and then it ends up being, you add to the...
Become a mate.
Yeah.
Become another...
Yeah.
That's really... I also think, to add, they need to, like you said, they don't seem like they've spent a lot of time together. I feel some team building, picnics or something.
Yes.
Some activities need to go on. They need to play paddle.
I don't know when this wedding's happening.
Later tag.
But I think some time together.
They need to bond and they need to play together.
Yeah.
Because she's saying that she's scared that there will be tension that will ruin the wedding day. Don't let that happen.
No.
Put some work in before we get there.
Put the work in, yeah.
Good luck, Annie. And I hope it all works out. And just remember, you got this.
You got this. Be you. Be you.
If not, we'll cut that. It's hilarious. But it is hard to, like, how do you discipline other people's children if, like, under the...
You don't.
Ooh.
You don't. You just set the boundary, and because you don't want to be the pushover, you set the boundary. This is how I expect to be treated and spoken to and respected. So as long as you don't come over this side, I won't go over that side. So it was really only when they were much younger when they wanted to push those boundaries. But no, you never tell. Like how you wouldn't tell another parent how to parent. You don't tell another child what to do because they're not yours.
Yeah. And you don't do really...
But they will come to you and go, what do you think? How do you think I should do this? And you go, oh, okay. Because you haven't been forcing your ideas onto them.
That's where the tension comes.
Yeah.
When you try and...
You wait for them to come to you.
Yeah. And don't do anything snaky like cut their hair on your watch or anything like that. Because I've heard things like that. Like cut or colour or do wild things on your watch. Don't do that, right?
Yeah. And you need to have a good relationship with the other mother, the previous partner.
Yeah.
Because if it's going to work, those kids are always going to love their mum, So you've got to build a relationship there too.
Yeah, and you have to be teammates, and that can be difficult.
And just like for all the parents to be adults and go like, let's do this for the children. Let's like focus on what's going to be good for them. We've made our decisions in our lives, wrong or right, and we've gone down different pathways. They're just at the beginning of their journey, so it's all about them.
I love that. So putting the kids first.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Let's put our stuff to one side.
Exactly.
I've got a lot of friends who are in blended families, or they're the stepmother, and it's really challenging.
It is challenging.
Dealing
It
with
is.
the other mama.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on the other side of that, and again, it's like putting the kids first.
And also putting yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
What must it feel like? What must it be like from their perspective? So,
Yeah, and be kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your kindness. Well, thank you, Penny. Penny, thank you for being such a
Aw.
beautiful guest, inside and out.
Aw.
You are really inspirational, and I'm so inspired by our chat. I know
Well,
all our
I
listeners
loved
Oh.
chatting with you.
Thank you
and
very much.
You're a beam of light. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And congratulations on your new book,
I know.
Someone Like Me. Thank you for coming on Second Act. Thanks so much for listening. If you've got a dilemma or question you need answering, email me at secondactpod@hellomagazine.com. And don't forget to rate us if you enjoyed the show. And you can find all the best second act wisdom from our experts via the Hello Magazine website. And I'll see you next week.